So I've been hearing a lot about people who can't speak. I've been hearing a lot of people who think that they've forgotten how to go someplace and feel something, and another couple of people who talk about, oh, I'm afraid that if I feel something and tell other people what I feel or what I see or what I can do, then somebody else is gonna go around and they're gonna take it. And they're not gonna have to work as hard as I worked, but they're gonna sound just the same and they're gonna look just the same, and I'm gonna lose myself. I'm gonna lose the stuff that I worked so hard at. You'll never lose any of that. You'll never lose anything that you've done, except for when you do. So, I wanted to clear up some things. Creating something is like stepping into another world. When you create something, you don't create that because you know the English language well. You don't create that because your mommy and daddy raised you to make that. You create that because of the people around you and because of the world that you learned about, the language that you heard about, the language that you listened to for years and years, the language that you had to learn on your own. Step into a world. Open the door and step inside. But who's gonna show you this world? Why does this world even exist if our parents don't speak it? If we don't speak it? If our friends and colleagues and people at work don't speak it? If nobody speaks this language? Then how come so many people are dedicating their lives to learning how to speak it? To share ideas through this medium? How does this thing that's so impossibly out here continue to thrive and to grow with each and every one of us, or without? There are people who will never ever learn this language, and still there are things written about them that they'll never ever be able to understand. It might sound nice, it might sound like a bunch of vowels and be all fun and exciting for a bit, but this thing can be blared in front of their face. It can be torn into their ears, and they'll never ever hear it. There's a world out there that each one of you have heard. This world is something that I grew up around a lot. It's a world where I was told how to learn it. It's a world where I was told to practice every day, and that it would be good for me. But some people don't have that. And that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. As we've all seen, everything in life is both good and bad. Good for one reason, bad for another reason, good for one person, bad for another person. It's all subjective, and it's all continuing right now in places where we don't go anymore. It's continuing in places where we live at. It's continuing each and every place. But this world that's forgotten to be spoken by individuals who have things written about them that they can't see, no matter how much they listen to it. So how do you get back into something when you haven't done it for a long time? How do you speak in a language that you don't fully understand? I was told to listen. That was my big thing. You don't just try to replicate whatever you see or whatever you hear, because you may not know the meaning. You may not know what somebody was trying to convey when they said that, or when they drew that, or when they sang that. Sometimes you're singing stuff because it sounds nice. And when you try to make something new out of something you don't understand, that can mess up people who use their medium to say things that they live their life by, or to say things that have no English words. It's a feeling that can't be explained. It's a place that doesn't exist. A language that everybody speaks, but they don't speak it because it means anything. They speak it because it sounds nice. They may be saying a bajillion things without recognizing what they're saying. And other people will speak and they'll have something to say, and their word gets across to another word. I was told to listen. to this unspoken, unintelligible, jumbly garbage of a language. And I didn't understand. Even after the longest time of being able to nitpick apart everything, I didn't understand it. And then for about 2 years, I listened to one person in their medium. I listened to everything that they wrote during a very short duration of time. And I listened to that one small thing for 2 years. It's amazing how much we listen to every single day. And to take that all away and to replace it with this repetitive nuance of noise, it changes the way on how you interpret the world. Sometimes we play one video game on loop, and that video game has a rhythm to it. It's got a bass line, it's got a lead singer, and it's got a lead guitarist. And you play it, and you start to hear it. Even when you're not playing it, it's around. You see the lights and the shapes that made up the game. You see the text boxes, and you kind of talk like the characters that were in the game. This language is now a part of who you are, and it means whatever it means to you. But at that point, you can speak it. It may not make a ton of sense. You are hearing one group of words from one individual. So how are you going to know how any of this relates to other individuals who may speak this same language? It's a weird thing. It's not written necessarily with just words, but it's got sounds in it. It's got actions. It's got music and art. And everything under the sun that you could ever possibly imagine, and more. You're stepping into a world that was created that had these silly little birds and these silly little eggs. The way that I step into this game is to hit the play button. So if you've forgotten how to play, you're no longer a master at this skilled thing you called to home for so many years, then I would urge you to step back inside, to hit that play button. And if you don't like one game, then go to another game. Maybe your language has changed, and the world you want to see, it revolves around something different. Every so often I find myself playing a Lord of the Rings game, one of my favorite film series in the entire world, and embarrassingly so. But it's a great film series. It's inspired a lot of people and has a strong story. And it's got this world that at the time explained how I viewed the world. The flashbacks to Sauron the Eye, who saw everything, was something I faced on a day-to-day basis. Having to watch out for ring wraiths walking on the road wasn't so far from what I had to deal with. And to me, seeing somebody else who spoke this language, who saw these things that I saw, and saw it so perfectly that they could paint a picture about it, was awe-striking to me. It was a world where I was no longer this crazy buffoon going around in circles grasping on to nothing but straws. This was a place that was real. And it's amazing to see this place put in so many other areas of life. These worlds that would otherwise just be circles of thin air become something. They become something tangible that you can hold on to. We all don't create masterpieces out of the womb. We have to learn from somebody. And how do you learn from somebody? There are two methods of learning. Two methods that would impact how you learn any language like this. The first one is to listen. It's to listen for many years to one thing on loop. Be it jazz to be comfortable, be it a movie that you can relate to. But listening will guard you knowledge about this feeling of the medium. It will become a part of you, and it will live on emotionally. But what if you are after something more tangible? What if you are after something different? Something that you wanted to watch, but it wasn't being made anymore. How then would you speak this language that went extinct? So, thereby lies the action and the other way of learning this language. Doing, recreation, remaking something, copying it. And that's a really scary thing to some people. There's been a lot of arguments about, oh, you can't copy something exactly as I've done it, because that would be wrong. Because that idea didn't come to you, and you're going to draw exactly what I'm drawing, and people would think that you had the idea. Well, if anybody asked them why they drew that thing, they're not going to have an answer. They're gonna have to tell some kind of lie. Or they will say, I don't know. Sometimes even the real artists say, I don't know though. So you wonder how many artists were copying. Maybe they were copying another medium. Maybe they were copying something that they saw in their day-to-day life. Or maybe they were trying to make something live on that was no longer being created. And sometimes people will copy one thing over and over again until they find some kind of perfection with it, or until they grow tired of the medium they were copying. That's what a medium is. If you didn't write it, it's going to be something that you've interpreted in your own way. It won't be this strong thing that originated a beautiful piece of art. It's going to be mimicry of somebody else's feelings. A mimicry of the way somebody else saw something. And people get tired of that. They all want to hear their own stories. 1000%. People don't want to hear other people talk about their day. They want to talk about their own day. So, what people do is they may copy, they may replicate, but eventually they grow tired of that. And they start creating their own thing. And it's so funny to watch one artist who learned through the process of replicating one image for years go on a tangent about how people are now copying him. And he gets scared that the world he made would get destroyed by this. Maybe the interpretation of what your original piece means to somebody else is going to be different. But stopping people from learning how to speak a language is going to destroy that medium forever. Maybe they make something that later inspires the original creator to make something new. It helps a lot when an original creator puts out just an idea, because in the music world, there is this back and forth that happens. One person plays a beat, the other person creates a bass line. They strum things together and throw things around, and they'll have these things called jam sessions. It's this thing when nobody has one clear idea about how everything's going to go. They only have bits and pieces. But because other people have learned how to play one song and speak one language, they can vibe on sort of the same wavelength, and they can create more of what they were going after. All speaking the same language, all creating the same type of thing, all understanding that emotion that they can't help but to play. And when you can't copy people anymore, and you forget the art, then how do you get back into it? How do you remember the lessons that you were taught a long, long time ago? How do you ever get anybody new into the thing that you used to do? It all crumbles once you tell people to stop. When you tell people no, they can't do it. All of it will evaporate before your very eyes. And there will be somebody out of the dusk who didn't listen to any of that, and they did copy, and they did replicate, and now they're gods because they're the only one who knows how to do it. And they create what we hear for the next generation. Maybe what they play isn't what you want to hear. Maybe you couldn't agree less with their words. Maybe you don't like their style. You don't like how they dress. You don't like anything about what they've done. And it's something you could have done too. Yes, it's something that if you put a lot of time into learning a language that you would otherwise not know if you hadn't heard a certain thing or seen a certain thing, that language would be gone and you wouldn't understand it. And the most you would be able to do is replicate the sounds of it. There would be no meaning behind anything. There would be no understanding of what was being portrayed. There would be no interpretation at all. I still find myself listening to songs and finding new meanings. I listen to songs and I look at what the artist might have been going through, the media they might have watched, and it is amazing to see what inspires another thing. So that's all I wanted to say today. If you feel inspired because of how I've edited something or anything I've said, then cool. You have stepped into my world because I posted this and talked to you for a minute about what I was seeing, about what I was thinking. And because of that, you've understood me a little better, and you've understood the world that I've lived in. So if you want to talk about your world, what you experience, if you want to show it in any regard, be it a photo or a video or a song, then do it. That's it. Thanks for listening for a bit. See ya.